7:33 Central African Time. Hello, Sonny Bonani. Welcome to the season finale of the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Welcome to the Yas Marina Circuit. Welcome to Abu Dhabi, where we will be getting the final the final lines concluding the series that is the story of this season. Who will consolidate their position in the playoffs? Who will be confirmed as getting relegated from the top tier? Lancelot is in the comments section. It's good to have you as always. Kid K as well, saying that Django must retire in the pit. Not sure if KK wants to see a last to first challenge on the part of Smirch Django. But we will see that in due time. Well, it's a low-stakes qualification process, folks. Q1 will be 18 minutes of, I think pretty much a practice session at this particular point. Don Rabico feeling comfortable enough to dip into the comment section despite being in that garage for Team Scuderia Ferrari. We will see then what he could do. He's definitely one of the drivers to watch. Don Ravico in some of the friendly races has been getting pretty racy around here, giving the likes of Smirch Django, the likes of the brand new driver, that being SSL Mango down in Tier 3, giving them a lot to think about in the simulation races. So we will see just what kind of pace Don Rabico has in store for us. He reckons he'll be starting from the back. Is it going to be a last to first challenge for him? Well, time will tell. Well, just to get some big news out the way, folks. Towards the end of the season, we have a newly minted champion, none other than Smirch Django, the Mercedes driver who dethroned Cicle. After 3 years of dominance from Cicle, he has since left the Breakaway Racing League stable, has Cicle, meaning that Smirch Django, who was in line to confirm his championship here anyway, had Cicle, raced. It would have been, of course, down to the wire. But now with Cicle's departure, Smirch Django is the brand new champion of the Breakaway Racing League top tier. He did it at the first time of asking, did Django. What a sensational performance that is. And as we now have Mandla, a.k.a. Romeo, wasting no time, as is usually the case. Mandla is just coming out. He's going to be one of the first to give us a qualification lap. Smirch Django now has the pressure and you could even say the pleasure, the honor of wearing the crown. And it's now Smirch Django's turn to have a target on his back as the years and the seasons move on along. So excited to see what Smirch Django can do. All hail the king, say the likes of Don Rabico in the comments section. Lindo, I see you in the comments section. He says, I'm here to watch Django murk them. He's here to watch Django dunk on the field. Well, will it be that clear cut, or will the top tier Breakaway Racing League drivers have something to say about that? We're currently watching Mandla, who has managed once again to consolidate his place in the Breakaway Racing League. But as I say that, he goes completely, pear-shaped, coming out of the final corner, having a huge moment. And that's definitely going to compromise his first push lap. Mandla. So not such a smooth start for the Alfa Romeo driver, who's done well to consolidate his place in this league. 36 total points. Mandla into the wall at the start of the session. He was under no pressure, was Mandla. All he needed to do was set a banker lap. Instead, he sends it straight into the wall. Mandla, what the heck is going on? Oh, heartbreaking stuff for Mandla, and that means Ban Kobe will be the first driver to set a representative lap. Man, oh man, oh man, what in the world is going on with Mandla? On board now with Ban Kobe, who's one of the drivers that is under pressure. Ban Kobe has done very, very well over the past couple of weeks. He's racked up a total 22 championship points, meaning he has secured his progression up the table, but only up to P15, but with Cicle's departure, it means Ban Kobe is now P14, and he's currently in the playoff spots. ABS off for Mandla, says Cilindo. Since Mando is trying new things, Lancelot barely believing what we've seen. Langello confirming that seemingly it's ABS off for Mandela. Well, ABS off has sent Mandela straight out of the session. Will take no further part in qualifying. On board now, Bankobi, Sector 3. Ooh, had a little bit of a moment, but he kept it clean through the hotel section of this year's track. Bankobi, with the first representative time of the day, takes the final corner, that being 16, and crosses the line with a 25.473. Hello, Bankobi. That is the benchmark initially. Donathan Laka next across the line. Medium tires for him, 25.508. P2. Well. Apparently, Josh, aka Damnesia, needs an invite. So do bear with us for a second. Not sure why he has not been able to join the lobby as yet, but we've made sure that Josh has received that invite. So with Bankobi's scorching first effort, we'll hop over to Seppo Temba, who has had a really mixed bag of his season. A couple of DNFs, especially in the first couple of races. He really struggled to perform to Seppo Temba, but then he put together a string of decent results, a couple of fourth place finishes. Can he match that or even go better today? Seppo Temba, Aston Martin driver, now coming towards turn 9, sector 2 split of a 54.040. His teammate is currently 14th in the standings. Seppo Temba is up in P11 in the driver standings, 45 championship points, so he is safe from slipping into the playoffs, but he is here to make his presence felt in the final race of the season and to make sure that he does not take part in those pressure-filled playoffs. Seppo Temba will be the fourth driver to set a time. It's a 25.827, and he is then up to P3. Seppo Temba for Alpha Tauri. Who else is out on a run? Zotal still in the pits. The King Rapture, Maripang. His Royal Highness is still currently on an outlap, as is Kaboza, who is yet to set a representative time. So we'll hop on board with Esbuda going on a second attempt. Esbuda under an immense amount of pressure. Only 13 points up until this point. He is currently second from last. P18 in this championship. Remember, we only have 19 drivers with the C-Class departure. Esbuda under pressure, could be getting relegated. Comes across the line, sets a 26.106. He knows what he needs to do today. He needs to be finishing with a decent points haul if he is to leapfrog both Tapiso and Malusi the Malusi. Malusi the Malusi currently P16 on 16 points. Tapiso currently P17 on 15 points. So just 2 points separating this man, Esbuda, and Tapiso from those automatic, both those drivers in the automatic relegation spots. Kaboza, what a season he's had. He's now, of course, the driver in P2 in the standings with C-Class departure, 157 points. That's, of course, has also promoted his teammate Mex to third in the driver's standings. A McLaren P2 and 3 at the end of the season. It is looking very, very good for that team in the Papaya Orange. Into the traction zone comes Kaboza. And across the DRS line he comes. He opens up that rear wing and sends it screaming down towards turn number 9 on the Yas Marina Circuit. Ahead of Kaboza is His Royal Highness Maripang, King Rapture. We'll see exactly what he could do in due time. Kaboza exits 9, carrying as much speed as he possibly can through 10, touches the apex, as is the case again through 11 and 12. A little bit wide in 13. Make sure not to miss it too much through 14, as he now looks to complete the rest of this circuit with 9.5 minutes of this first quali session to go. Mandla absolutely squandered this low-pressure Q1 situation. Kaboza crosses the line on mediums, 26.039. We have yet to see these drivers really giving it a proper push and a proper go. Maripang is definitely doing that. He will definitely not be getting accused of not pushing at all. It's a set of medium tires for Maripang. I will get a sense of what his time will be, whether or not it will be competitive. Ooh, coming out of turn 12 was a little bit screwy there, but he managed to keep it together and now tackles the final sequence of corners. Maripang, His Royal Highness King Rapture, wide exit 25.8 8-1. Quicker than September, who's running soft tires. So that gives us a taste of what is perhaps to come from Maripane. Meanwhile, the Alpine of Zotal has completed Sector 2 with a split of 54.204. On board now, we go with Zotal. Those lateral G-forces carrying him, dragging him wide on the exit of 9. But of course, it is not necessarily something that would compromise his times too much. He was trying to maintain as much speed as he possibly can. Now making his way through the final sequences of corners. 8 minutes Zotal has to set his banker lap and perhaps come back towards the pits. A little bit of a glitchy moment there towards the line. 25.888 is good enough for P5. Zotal, that is his effort and his time. So it's Ban Kobe leading the standings with that 25.473. Donathan Laka, what a season he's had, P2. Maripane King Rapture, third from September. Zotal has just tucked into P5 from Kaboza, who's made his way back to the pits. We then have Esbuda and Mex, whose time surely was not representative, knowing what kind of pace he has. 130.496 on that initial run. So let's see what the McLaren driver can do on his second push lap attempt. His Sector 2 split is a 53.871. So we get a sense of this significant improvement that Mex is putting in. Mex, of course, being cheered on consistently in the comment section by the likes of Nintendo Wii and Brendan NQ. I do wonder if they're in the comments this time around. It's Mex with 7 minutes to go through the hotel section, traction heavy zone. Let's see now what kind of a time you can put in. Remember, folks, with this diminished field, all they need to do is just have their banker laps and secure progression through to Q2. He improves by 4.8 seconds. It's a 25.668 for the McLaren driver, who sits third in the driver's standings. What a debut season he has had. Sensational stuff. Shades of Ban Kobe, shades of Teppo Temba in the way that they really just adapted to the top tier of Breakaway League racing. Really like a duck to water. Super, super talent. Do wonder what he will do as these seasons move on along. But of course, the person who made the most significant, the most spectacular adjustment to the top tier was none other than that man, Smirch Django, who currently has the crown, is the champion of the top tier Breakaway League racing. Can he do a repeat? Can he do a three-peat like champions past? Time will tell. Mex is currently P3, the only driver on track in Abu Dhabi. Such a spectacular circuit. We've seen, of course, our fair share of drama on this here circuit in real life. It's a circuit that first had its Grand Prix all the way back in 2009, has a total distance of 5.2 kilometers. The lap record is held by that man. Current world champion Max Verstappen was set back in 2021. And yeah, it has a race distance, a full race distance of 58 laps. But of course, we will see 50% race distance here. Loveness is going to be next to give this a go. And we will see what he can do. Sadly, it doesn't look like Josh, aka Damnesia, has been able to join the lobby. I do hope that could be rectified. Josh is also under his fair share of pressure. Currently sitting at P15, at risk of slipping down into those automatic relegation spots. Josh has 17 points. Mello the Mello, 16 points. Tepiso in that relegation spot has 15. Esbuda has 13 below him. And Nebo has 8 points at the bottom of the top tier Breakaway Racing League standings. On board now, we will go with Loveness, whose teammate Tepiso we were all expecting to see here, as Tepiso fights for his life, tries to avoid getting relegated back to the second tier. Ooh, Loveness has a bit of a moment there on the exit of turn 1. I do wonder if it is a little bit of a moment or if it's a slight network glitch. He's kept it together in the run towards turn 5. Sector 1 split 17.977. Exit of turn 5 will open up that rear wing and get those extra couple of kilometers per hour with DRS in that dash towards turn number 6 and the heavy braking zone. Let's see whether or not he nails the apex. He does touch it ever so slightly. Car bobbing to the left and right. Slight glitchy moment on board with Loveness, but he's managed to keep this lap intact. His Sector 2 split will be 54.049, so still carrying a decent amount of speed as he now comes through turn 9. Up to 7th. Will he go up to the last gear? No, it's down to 4 on the entrance of 12. Touches the apex of 13 and 14, and now has kept it to clean up until this point. Slight glitchy moments. That car looks like it's floating all over the track. Here comes Loveness now. Clean exit from the final corner. Will he challenge the top runners on softs? It's a 25.796 P4 for Loveness. Now next up, to conclude this quali session, it will be Smirch Django and Don Ravico, who I believe are both quite happy to start this race from the back of the pack. And look at that! Don Ravico perhaps saluting the new champion, Smirch Django. They're doing donuts, celebratory donuts here for the champion, Smirch Django, with the crown on his helmet. He now has a star next to his name, the new Breakaway Racing League champion. And with a clear track, with everybody having done their laps, they light up the track here at the Abu Dhabi circuit, right on the cusp of turn 9, I think it is. And both these cars having a little bit of fun with just burning a lot of rubber. Look at that, Smirch Django doesn't care that it's a set of soft tires, which could come in handy at a later stage. He's just happy to be the champion. He will be happy to watch the rest of quali from the comfort of the pits and try fight it out from the back of the pack. Let's go, Django!
I'm a champion. Utan Rabe ko ay ne angas way kala from the back. But never spin ay. At least I'm a kusha so bang mo binabos o Chile. Well, it's the first spin niya. Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Don Ravico, Smirch Django, burning rubber at the end of this quality session here. And it looks, folks, like it will be Ban Kobe going through to Q2 with the quickest time from Jonathan Laka. Mex went 3rd quickest, Loveness 4th, Maripang, that being King Rapture, went 5th quickest from Seppo Temba and Zotal, as those two are burning rubber. He's still out on track, but he's moving very, very slowly. He will see them in due time. Will he just join them as well? Perhaps he was thinking about going for it properly, but Zotal is definitely moving quite slowly, may not have enough time to get back to the line and begin a fresh lap. So perhaps he's just making his way to turn 9, where he will join Don Ravico and Smirch Django. Don Ravico facing the wrong way. Stewart saying, all right, that's enough spinning. You will be disqualified, and it looks like Smirch Django may also suffer that fate if he's not careful. Perhaps Zotal's just going to be content to join Django, but not quite. He passes turn 9. And yeah, there's Smirch Django as well, who's been doing a little bit of donuts as Zotal makes his way past. Just a couple of seconds left if Zotal is going to have another opportunity to cross the line. No, he will not. So it's Ban Kobe with the quickest time from Donathan Laka. Max 3rd quickest, Loveness 4th, King Rapture, Maripang 5th quickest, Seppo Temba 6th, Zotal 7th, Kaboza 8th, Expuda 9th, Smirch Django at the back without setting a time. 11th, Don Ravico, DSQ from Quali, and Mandla crashed out. And word around the paddock is Mandla is just trying out racing without ABS. So Mandla perhaps comfortable that those 36 points are going to be enough to secure his survival in the top tier. And we will see Mandla back again in the new season of Tier 1 Breakaway Racing League action. Kaboza says those two are doing a last to first challenge.
Amarawata po sistema sa T1. Kabang kabang ipasuwi na po abo smet chang na po. Na po Ravico. Kabang. Hai kanchen, nakapsung kanchen.
Yeah, Kapsungu Kanjana, but perhaps it will be possible if they do it. Wandal Shezi is here in the comment section, was cheering on the new champion, as was Mandla, aka Romeo. Salindo says, well, Kabosa, Kuya, and Yua. It's pretty tense times, according to Salindo in the comment section. Tapiso, a couple of you were asking, where is Tapiso? Sadly, seems a power outage may have prevented him from taking part in this last race. So if Tapiso does not join us before the race starts, it is pretty much a farewell to the Haas driver who's given us such fantastic entertainment in the top tier breakaway league racing. As it stands, Tapiso, Esbuda, and Nebo are getting relegated from the top tier of breakaway league racing. And Django is the champion from Kaboza in that second spot, Mex in that third spot, Don Ravico in fourth from D-Wax and Zotal. So those guys would be taking part in the playoffs. Fence is 7th, Loveness 8th, Tabo T92 9th, Donathon Laka 10th, Tepo Temba 11th, Mandla 12th, His Royal Highness King Rapture 13th, from Ban Kobe and 14th, Josh, aka Damnesia 15th, Malusi the Malusi 16th, and then we have the bottom three, which we have mentioned. Smirch Django, no need for him to come out. According to him, he's just content to retire his car. He will be starting from P10 as it currently stands. Tapiso says, no electricity, 4 Ways Chronicles. So says Celindo in the comment section. Don and Django says, Crash. Looking at the last to first challenge, I do wonder whether or not they can get it done. They're feeling very, very confident as we get that beautiful view of the Paddock Club, the plush seats here at the Yas Marina Circuit. A word of appreciation, a word of, a salute, if you will, to Max, who has been sensational since coming up to the top tier, on the verge of a top 3 finish, unless, of course, Don Ravico can pull off something spectacular. Max, coming into this race, has 121 points, Don Ravico, 102 points. So Don Ravico needs a sensational drive to leapfrog Max. But Max being Max, he will not make it easy. He will put on a hell of a fight with the McLaren driver. Sensational performance, really an example of adaptation and just clinical driving ever since coming up to the top tier of breakaway league racing. He finished on the podium in his first ever race in Tier 1 of the Breakaway Racing League. So that was just a clear sign of the kind of quality that he has. He repeated that feat, podium finish, in the feature race in Brazil not too long ago. And then recently he's finished 4th in Canada and not so smooth sailing, P9 in Mexico in the race. And he came across the line 6th in Bahrain and did not race most recently in Imola. So let's see what Max can do for the pride of McLaren. Carrying so much speed through turn 4, little touch of the curve there, and sends it hurling towards 517.703 is his split at the end of that first sector. Behind Max is the fast-moving Alpine of Zotal. I believe the King Rapture is also now completing his first sector. There comes now Max towards turn number 6. Little touch of the apex there. Missed it ever so slightly on the exit of that particular chicane. Now opens up that rear wing and sends it screaming towards turn 9. Through the DRS zone comes that Papaya Orange McLaren with a 53.592 split. So Max is pushing. He's definitely leaving nothing on the line here. Max will grab pole, so reckons Crash in the comment section. Do you agree? We saw Ban Kobe going quickest in Q1 on those soft compound tires. Ban Kobe, of course, risking absolutely nothing as far as his pace and his performance is concerned. Final corner, a little bit of a moment with the bottle there. It's Max across the line. 25.013 is the benchmark. Here comes Zotal to respond. 26.279 for the Alpine driver. Behind Zotal is His Royal Highness Maripeng, the King Rapture, running in that third spot, or the third driver to setting time, and it's the quickest time we've seen today, 24.941 for Maripeng, a sensational effort for the Williams driver. Behind him is one of the Aston Martins. It's Teppo Temba. What can he do? We know what kind of pace he has. P4 behind Ban Kobe, who's already crossed the line for a 25.666. So Zotal gets nudged down to P5 courtesy of those initial laps. It's Buddha next across the line with the likes of Kaboza, Donovan Laka, and Loveness still in the pits. On board now with the AlphaTauri driver who needs a miracle. He needs a sensational result here if he is to have any hope of survival. It's Buddha with 10 DNFs since the start of this season has now come across the line. P4 in Q2, 125.964. Van Kobe setting devil times. So says Sir Lancelot in the comment section. Well, that's your initial order, folks. It's Maripeng, the King Rapture from Van Kobe, and S. Buddha running a P4. And 3, respectively, Teppo Temba, the 5th quickest of the drivers thus far. Zotal, who has yet to show his true pace, still running those mediums. Zotal, P6 as things currently stand. Donovan Laka on an outlap. Loveness still in the pits. Kaboza has also yet to set his representative time, so we'll hop over to Donovan Laka, a.k.a. Don Setole, the talented driver and musician, one half of the dynamic DJ duo Lemon and Herb, has been making that Ferrari sing the entire season. Well, he's got 9 minutes to find a tune out of that F1 75 model from Maranello. Let's see what he can do this time out. He's on the verge of completing this outlap and beginning the push lap in earnest. On board we go with the superb talent who's really had a very good debut season, all things considered. Currently, P10 of the driver's standings has racked up 50 championship points. Decent stuff by all of the drivers who were promoted from Tier 2 last season. 17.556 is his split as the slow-moving, I think it might have been the composer who was making way. No, it was one of the cars coming on an in-lap, but perhaps it was Maripeng who made way there before he got to turn 5. Now, hurtling towards turn number 6, traction-heavy zone. Let's see how he takes those curves. It seemed for a second like he was quite tentative on the brakes there, but comes through the chicane unscathed. He's on the limit, really hugging that left line of the track. Trying to carry as much speed as possible to take the shortest route as possible towards turn 9. 53.385 is the sector 2 split. Navigates turn 9 cleanly without going too far over any limits whatsoever. Now into 12, a little wide of the apex. Trying to carry as much speed as possible. He was down to gear 4 into 12, but now it's up through 14. And gets a clean exit in 5th, 6th, 7th gear, and he will set it all the way down to gear 5 through the final corner, carrying as much speed as possible. Here comes Donovan Laka across the line for the quickest time, 124.633 for the Ferrari driver. Well, crash reckoned that we would see Mex snatching pole. Donovan Laka has something to say about that. It's still only Q2, folks. Still the final quali session to come. I do wonder what sort of times we will be seeing. Kaboza, for the first time today on a set of soft compound tires, the quickest compound of tires that you can get. What can he do now? It looks like he had abandoned that initial push lap, so this is effectively an outlap really for Kaboza, even though the timing tower says otherwise, so he will soon begin his proper push lap. Meanwhile, where's Zotal? Is he on the verge of completing? No, Zotal also on the verge of starting his push lap, so we'll catch up with him in a moment. It looks like that is Kaboza still moving slowly, so we will watch Zotal go for it. Kaboza retiring out on the pit. Is everyone feeling so relaxed as to try a lap the first challenge? Well, seems if so. Kaboza happy to retire his car without setting a time. Zotal finds almost 0.3 of a second through sector 1. His banker lap, Zotal, was a 26.279. It was set on mediums, remember. So this is going to be the first taste that we get of a representative lap on the quickest compound of tires from the Alpine driver. Now, into turn number 6, tight on the curb, or rather on the apex, gear 3 through the entry of that chicane, and now also taking as tight a line as far as sticking to the left as possible down this DRS straight all the way up, reaches a top speed in the region of 323 kilometers per hour before hitting the brakes into turn number 9. Still clean, still solid, still valid for Zotal as he now hurdles towards turn 12, the traction technical zone, if you will. He's still looking okay, is Zotal. Exit of 14 is clean for the Alpine driver. What will he do now towards the line? Is sector 3, will he be challenging the likes of Jonathan Laka? It's going to take some doing. P4 is the best that he could do up until this point. Improves Zotal, but only 4th quickest for the Alpine driver. If you've just joined us, welcome. Just 5 minutes remaining of this second quali session. It's the season finale. The story of the Tier 1 season ends tonight in Abu Dhabi. Please like the stream, subscribe to our channel if you have not done so as yet. We've just seen Zotal come across the line for the 4th quickest time in Q2. Just under 5 minutes of this session to go, as Mex is going to be one of the only drivers remaining out on track. He's already done a lap on these soft compound tires, as Mex. And now on his second push, he finds 2/100 of a second by the time he gets to the end of that first sector. Turn 5 was without incident for Mex. Are now on board in that run towards turn 6. We've seen drivers on the exit of this upcoming chicane pretty much stay hugged towards the left in the run towards turn 9. Will Mex follow suit? His chicane was pretty much without incident there. He does exactly that, trying to take as short a route as possible towards turn 9. Here comes Mex. Sadly for him, in sector 2 was not so great. He lost about a 10th. He's down on his best time. He's about a 10th slower than his previous best time, so he's going to need to put a rabbit out of a hat through sector 3. Turn 12 was not so bad. 13, 14, still without incident. Here he comes now. Mex for Team McLaren, the only running driver for Team McLaren, having now invalidated, will come into the pits, leaving Loveness as the only remaining driver to conclude proceedings towards the end of Q2. Loveness, 57 championship points, currently P8 in the standings. Let's now see how his lap will go. 17.8 at the end of the first sector. Slight glitchy POV that we're getting. The car looks like it's bobbing to the left and to the right. Thus far, a season's best performance for Loveness was a 4th place. That was back in Brazil during the feature race. I beg your pardon, it was actually in Spain. Tato, aka Loveness, finished 3rd in Spain. And then the next best was a P4 in Brazil. The Imola feature race last time out didn't go so smoothly. He came across the line P11 as he now completes that sector 2, going wide of the mark, and that results in an invalidation with 2 minutes of this session to go. Loveness is going to have to ease off the throttle here and really just nurse that car, just guide it back towards the line and go for another push lap from scratch. Donathan Laka, aka Don Satole, will get pole position. So says Man Ray in the comments section. Currently 2 drivers out on track, both on their outlaps. It is Maripeng, His Royal Highness King Rapture, and Mex. They're going to be the 2 drivers to give it a final go. As I've seen a couple more of you have just joined the stream. Thank you for joining us. It's the season finale of the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Subscribe to the channel, like the stream as we look forward to Q3, the shootout for pole position and the feature race here in Abu Dhabi, the season finale. We are now watching Loveness, who has just made his way through turns 6 and 7. Without incident, you'll also stay tucked towards that left-hand line in the beginning before lining up his entry into turn 9, 54.514. His Sector 2 split. The duo of Maripeng and Mex are going to be crossing the line pretty soon. They've got 42 seconds to do so before the checkered flag is seen. Loveness needs to set his banker lap, so that's what we're watching over here. He invalidated Loveness in sector at the conclusion of Sector 2. But this time around, it's been a clean lap for Loveness. Comes across the line with the 8th quickest time, 26.417. Now, Maripeng and Mex have crossed the line to begin their final push laps. There goes the McLaren of Mex, currently with the 3rd quickest time. Maripeng, aka His Royal Highness King Rapture, with the 2nd quickest time from Donathan Laka. Checkered flag has been waved. Loveness making his way now back towards the pits. Can Mex find an improvement in the run towards turn 9 and his Sector 2 split? We're on board now with the McLaren driver. The answer is no. He's down about 2/10 of a second from his previous best time, as is Maripeng. He's down about 3.5 of a second. So not quite smooth sailing as Loveness. I do hope for Loveness' sake that he didn't DNF his car, because I see a yellow flag in Sector 2. Max going completely off the track there, so he pretty much has relinquished his push for an improvement, and it looks like Maripeng, aka the King Rapture, also just easing off the throttle there, and perhaps we're just going to watch them come straight back into the pits. Yeah, Mex has opted to retire on the track, and Loveness also joining those ranks. So, the end of Sector 2 has seen the quickest time that we have seen today. From Donathan Laka, 24.633. Went quickest from King Rapture. 2nd quickest, Mex and Zotal went P3 and 4. Ban Kobe, 5th quickest. S Buddha, 6th. Tepo Temba, P7. From Loveness in 8th. Kaboza, of course, and Smooch Django did not set a time. Those two will start from the back of the pack, P9 and 10, respectively, in this diminished field. Welcome! Q3, the shootout for pole position up next. Zotal, the only driver to use 2 sets of tires, went from medium to soft in Q2. And a couple of retirements, as you can see. Just the 1 set of soft compound tires for this field. A diminished field, of course. Diminished level of pressure as a result. So we will be getting our fair share of entertainment towards the 3rd and final quali session. I want to hear your predictions for who will be on pole, who will take P2 and P3. We've already heard Crash's thoughts and Man Ray's thoughts. Let me know who you expect to be topping those timing towers towards the end of this session. We're back for Q3, folks. 12 minutes is all they will have to get going and get running in this session and stake their claim for those top spots. Kaboza, Mex, Donathan Laka, so says Celindo in the comments section. Will that prove to be true? What can Zotal do? Does Zotal have something in the bag in the way of pace? Well, ahead of him are the Aston Martin duo of Tepo Temba and the under pressure Ban Kobe. Who knows what he needs to do? Josh is in, says Man Ray. Thankfully, he is in the lobby, so he will be racing from the back of the pack. Josh having to pull all sorts of tricks and rabbits out the hat at the final part of his season. Josh, remember, just a couple of races ago, was rock bottom of the standings, but now Josh finds himself P15 on 17 points. Ahead of him is Ban Kobe on 22 points. So Josh managed to claw his way out of those automatic relegation spots. As it stands, Josh, aka Damnesia, now in with a shout of being in the playoffs. And Ban Kobe finds himself in a position where he needs a decent haul here tonight. And he may yet end his Breakaway Racing League Tier 1 season without having to take part in playoffs, despite being in the bottom 3 for a significant portion of the second half of this season. Ban Kobe will be the first to set a representative lap. So on board we go with the Aston Martin Superstar. Now making his way in the exit of turn 1. There's yellow flags behind him. He'll pay no mind to that. Slow-moving drivers trying to create some space in between them. It's Ban Kobe now towards turn number 5. We'll have the first representative split of a 17.5, I believe that was, at the end of that first sector. Behind him, ever so closely, is Teppo Temba. It's the Aston Martin duo who will show us what the early benchmark is. And here comes Ban Kobe towards turn number 6. And it's down to second gear into 6. And it's still clean there for Ban Kobe. A little bit circumspect on the throttle. And he's still looking all right, is Ban Kobe. We'll see whether or not his Sector 2 split is anything in the way of competitive. 53.680. That is Ban Kobe's early benchmark, carrying so much speed. 5th gear through turn 9. And was really pushing despite those lateral G-forces on that long left-hander. Now, turn 12 is clean. Comes to the apex ever so slightly. It looks like behind him, his teammate Seppo Temba is on his tail. They're pretty much running neck and neck. Seppo Temba not falling too far behind. Ban Kobe is going to set the first representative time. He exits the final corner, crosses the line for a 24.660, his quickest time today. Seppo Temba can only do 25.133 as his Q3 effort. Zotile is going to come across the line, P3, 25.319, and Max is the quickest driver, 24.379 is the quickest time that we've seen today by some margin. His teammates hasn't validated. He's going to have to give it another go. Donathan Laka, we saw what he could do in Q2. Let's see now. Across the line comes Donathan Laka, and it's a 24.277. The Ferrari driver with a scorching hot P1 provisional pole position as things currently stand. Sensational stuff. Esbuda next across the line. 25.5 will put him P6. King Rapture, Maripeng, and Loveness have yet to exit the pits. Kaboza made his way all the way back to the pits, having invalidated his initial push lap. So Donathan Laka, the early pace setter, Man Ray, it seems, as it currently stands with 7.5 minutes of the session to go, Man Ray called it, but Mex will have something to say about that, I'm sure. Ban Kobe also in the 1 minute 24s with that 24.660, now making his way back toward the pit lane, tailed, of course, by his teammate Seppo Temba, who's 25.133, was only good enough for P4 as things currently stand. Zotile has got some work to do. He's got some pace to find, and he's making his way, rushing all the way back to the pit, as is the McLaren of Mex, I believe, behind him. So back in the pits are Zotile and the McLaren. Esbuda came out for his push lap a little bit later, now making his way back towards the pits. So we'll see what he can do here. It's a smaller field, another golden opportunity for Esbuda to put in would be a masterclass here and somehow leapfrog the likes of Tepiso and Malusi the Malusi. Remember, Esbuda 13 points, Tepiso 15 points, and Nebo 8 points. Currently, those three in the relegation places, but Malusi the Malusi has just 17 points. Or rather 16 points, I beg your pardon, Josh, aka Damnesia, 17 points. So it's very, very tight at the bottom as far as getting automatically relegated is concerned. We're on board now with Loveness, who is one of 3 drivers out on track. Maripeng, Kaboza on their outlaps. Loveness trying to stake his claim on the fight, the battle, the joust, the duel for pole position. What can he do now? He's got 5.5 minutes to stake his claim. Into turn 6, not quite tight towards the apex there. He was down to 3rd gear, and he's tentative on the throttle. Of course, you don't want to slam the throttle too hard on the exit of those slower corners for, of course, risk of a wheel spin and just losing your position altogether. 53.403 is his split now coming through turn 9. 5th gear, as was the case with the likes of Van Kobe's on board. Trying to clear as much of that momentum as he can into 12, which he takes through 4th gear. Still tentative on those shifts was 3rd gear on the exit of turn 14. Will take the last corner through 4th gear, and Loveness will come across the line with a time good enough for P3. 24.578 is a very, very decent effort, all things considered. He tucks right between Mex and Van Kobe. So Mex will, as things at least currently stand, provisionally P3. Solid effort. Now, on board we go with Maripeng, who has Kaboza behind him. That car's jumping around, says Crash. Yeah, slight network issues as far as those onboards with Loveness are concerned. We're now watching Maripeng, King Rapture. Final sequences of corners. 4 minutes in this session to go. He opted to come late. Ooh, a little bit of a wide potential moment on the exit of that final corner. He goes P5. Kaboza, what can he do? P6 for the McLaren driver. Everybody in the top 6 in the 1 minute 24s. Kaboza, the last of those, 24.824. Provisional P6 as far as he currently stands. And on his in-lap, he has a huge moment spinning out of the track. But he does have his banker lap in the bag. Will he have enough time, Kaboza, to come back into the reckoning for a second push lap? Well, time is of the essence. McLaren duo, I believe, should be on their outlaps. Kaboza opts to retire his car. Yeah, both these McLarens, Bankobi, Teppo Temba, definitely on their outlaps. Teppo Temba has passed his teammate, so will be the first to set a representative lap. Look at that. Meanwhile, Zotal was also pushing off camera, and Mex improves into the 1 minute 23s. Mex at a 23.956 off camera. Man, oh man, oh man. He's the only driver to set a time in the 1 minute 23s. Zotal's second push lap propelled him to 1 minute 24.575. Crash says, I was vindicated. I told you that Mex was the man to beat. Sensational effort by Motel Mekwa with over 2 minutes of the session to go. The only driver to breach into the 1 minute 23. Sensational stuff by the McLaren driver. Man, it doesn't look like Donovan Lacka will come out and attempt to challenge. As Celindo says, well, Crash, you seem to have called it spot on over there. It seems the drivers that are currently pushing are the McLaren duo of Teppo Temba and Bankobi, but Teppo Temba doesn't really look like he's pushing at the moment, or is he? I did say 123, and pole, says Crash in the comments. So yeah, Teppo Temba makes way for Bankobi, who is still definitely pushing. Kaboza says, well, he's just rolling the dice here. He hasn't touched his console since the previous race. Okay, that being Thursday last week. Bankobi finds about 7/100ths of a second worth of improvement. Better be careful not to invalidate on the exit of 9. Went wide there, trying to carry almost too much speed on as he fought those lateral G-forces through turn 9. How much will that cost him, Ben Kobe, in that third and final sector as Zotal opts to retire from this session as the clock ticks towards the inevitable conclusion of this final session. Oh, Ben Kobe going completely wide, almost having a huge moment with the wall, and loses all that time, opts to have a little bit of a spin. He could not improve. Here comes Jonathan Laka now across the line. His best up until this point was a 24.277. So it's a shootout between Don and Mex. This is going to be Jonathan Laka's fight back attempt. He's he's gone completely off on the exit of turn 3, and that may just be that as far as pole position is concerned. Jonathan Laka may yet just retire his car, and that is his race done and dusted. Mex 23.956 is the driver who will claim pole position. Surely, unless by some miracle Loveness could have something to say here. He's the last running driver, now into 6 and 7, that chicane. What will that Sector 2 split time be? That'll be telling, of course. The answer, almost half a second improvement, 52.953 for Loveness at the end of Sector 2. What can he do? What is he cooking? Yes, he's packing something. Loveness is packing, he's cooking. He might be doing something, but that car, those network issues, bobbing to the left and to the right, are just so deceptive. You're just not really sure if it's a mistake or if something is happening. Zotal, let's go, says Celindo in the comments. It's Loveness on his challenging time towards the line. I think he improved by 0.6 of a second, and he's up to P2 behind Mex. It's a sensational effort by Tasso, aka Loveness. In the final race of the season, he becomes the second driver to breach into the 23 seconds, and it's a scorcher of a lap by the Haas driver. Loveness 23.976. Look at the margin, 2/100ths of a second. Mex, Loveness, take a bow. That is absolutely sensational. That is your grid, folks. It's Mex, Loveness in the front row. Jonathan Laka will start in P3. Zotal in that second row alongside him. Ban Kobe, King Rapture in the third row. Look out for Ban Kobe and Maripeng. Their race starts are absolutely sensational, but as is, of course, Loveness. Kaposa 7th, Espuda 8th, Tepo Temba 9th. Smirch Jangle will start this race in P10. Slow clap for Loveness, says Man Ray. What a sensational effort there. There he is again, Nintendo Wii. Mex's biggest cheerleader is back in the comments. Let's go Ban Kobe, says Latsatsi in the comments section. Cheering on Ban Kobe, who's under pressure, of course, today to put on a show and, guarantee his survival in Tier 1. Ban Kobe was really out of sorts for so long throughout the season, and towards the end, he managed to fight his way out of those bottom 3 spots, aka automatic relegation. We get a decent look here of the Paddock Club. It's a beautiful, beautiful blue dusk skies here, blue orangey dusk skies in Abu Dhabi as the race is about to begin. Thank you for joining us. It's the season finale of the Breakaway Racing League, as we are about to get the conclusion of the drivers who will finish in the playoff spots and those who will finish getting automatically relegated from the top tier. So the red carpet towards Tier 2 has been rolled out. And folks, just a quick update on yesterday's result. 4 of the drivers are getting automatic relegation, courtesy of C-Clay exiting Tier 1 towards the end. So the likes of Context, I'm led to believe, also is getting promoted to Tier 1. As things currently stand. Context will not have to take part in the playoffs. He will be getting promoted to Tier 1 automatically. So I believe the likes of Man Ray and Sun Hashira will be in the playoffs as far as making it through to Tier 1 is concerned. Let's get a look at what the thinking is regarding tire strategy. We will have 29 laps of racing. Thank you for joining us in the top tier of Breakaway League Racing. Please subscribe to the channel, like the stream if you have not already. We look forward to a sensational race. At the back of the pack, the likes of Don Rabico, Smirch Jangle, treating us to a last to first challenge. They starting on the hard compound tires. The longest lasting compound of tires are the hard tires. White walled hard tires, of course, so they will go long initially. And it looks like the hard tire is the strategy of choice. Most of the drivers opting for that. The likes of Mandla, aka Romeo, P12, and Josh, Damnesia, in P13, opting to go for medium. So Mandla and Damnesia will go on the attack early, presumably. So Don Rabico, Smirch, Django are not going to have a very good time here. Justice, aka Context, cheering that he's got that automatic qualification. He will not have to contend with the stress of the playoffs. Beautiful stuff as far as he is concerned. Well, Man Ray says, hearing the news now, let me hear and watch my playoff protagonists and see who exactly I will be racing with in the playoffs. So says Man Ray. The playoffs are due, I believe, to take place next week on this here channel. So do stay tuned to Breakaway Racing League and follow our social media channels. Max put in quite a show in qualification. He will start this race in P1 on hards. Behind him and on the attack will be Loveness. Look out for Loveness. He is absolutely ruthless when it comes to the start of the races. He is usually fantastic, sublime off the line. Donathan Laka will be fighting it out in that second row alongside this man, Zotal. And Kobe, P5 start. Watch out for his attacks. King Rapture, 6th. Kaboza, 7th. Esbuda, Seppo Temba, 8th and 9th. Smirch Django has just made his way towards his starting position. Does he find his way correctly? Don Rabico now coming towards the line. Mandla gets a clean race start position. Kaboza arriving late to the scene. Josh, aka Damnesia, also ready to go. Well, welcome to the season finale. 4 lights, 5 lights, the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We're racing in Abu Dhabi, and it's the rush towards turn 1. Look, Ben Kobe already gaining a place. Only 1 place in the rush towards turn 1. Oh, they've hit Max. They've hit Max. He's spun. Max was hit from behind. He's now down to dead last, and Loveness leads the race from Ben Kobe from the King Rapture. Ben Kobe gaining a net 3 places. The King Rapture also up 3 from Kaboza, who's also gained 3 places. He started in 7th. Now up to P3. Next, absolutely heartbreaking situation. Now down in 2nd to last. Donathan Laka also having a nightmarish start in that lap 1, turn 1 drama. Both those drivers who were going to be hoping for a race win now in P11 and P13 respectively. Loveness navigates the first sector cleanly. Ban Kobe is running half a second behind from Maripeng, King Rapture, and Kaboza. Jangle pulls to the left and let everybody pass. So says Crash in the comments section. Well, we will see that. It looks like Jangle is still playing it coy down in P12. Kaboza gaining the next 3 places. Zotal, his race starts, still an issue in the final race of the season. He's lost 1 place. Thankfully, not too much lost as far as Zotal is concerned. Behind him on the attack is Esbuda, now making a way through the traction demanding section, and Damnesia has a huge spin on the exit of, I think that was turn number 13, and into 14 he will slip down to P10. So it's a nightmarish lap 1 for him. Loveness crosses the line on those mediums, 31.472 across the line for him. Mandla running 11th, Django 12th, and Don at the back. He took some damage. He's going to have to pit early. Loveness is leading from Ban Kobe by more than a second. What a race. What a start. What a prospective result for Loveness. But, of course, we have 29 laps of racing to go. It is nowhere near done and dusted. Nowhere near. Not even halfway. But a beautiful start for the Haas driver, Ban Kobe, following closely behind. And let's get a sense of how much of the battery he has used. He's down to about 68% is Ban Kobe. Maripeng behind, also hovering at a similar mark. Kaboza is there and thereabouts. Ooh, Ban Kobe has a not so clean exit out of turn 7. Maripeng is going to go on the attack down this main straight. Kaboza was not close enough to attack. Here comes King Rapture on the inside. King Rapture wheel to wheel, and King Rapture up to P2. Ban Kobe fights it on the outside of turn 9. Will they make a little bit of contact? No, they almost make a little bit of contact, but Ben Kobe has fought back. and into turn 12. He's back ahead of Maripeng, aka King Rapture, who's now going to have to watch his back because Capoza is attacking the Williams driver. Dramatic lap 2, as was the case in the opening stanza of this race. Capoza now back within touching distance, and will he force Maripeng, King Rapture, into a mistake? On board now with the McLaren driver in this second lap as Loveness sets a 128.845, the new benchmark. As you can see now, the drivers who have gained and lost positions behind Capoza by 1 second is Zotal. Mex sets the quickest lap in the 28 seconds as well. Let's go, Mandla. ABS off. Was that Ban Colby? Yes! An unforced error forces Ban Colby down to P7. Oh, Ban Colby, unforced mistakes under absolutely, well, all the pressure, so to speak. He's now down to P7 and may yet be overtaken by the fast-moving Don Rabico, who will waste no time whatsoever. On board now with the Ferrari driver as Teppo Temba overtakes Buda a little bit further ahead. Don Rabico sparing his battery. He's down to about 91% of his battery. And I would imagine Ban Colby would have been using his battery to try stay out of the clutches of the fast-moving Ferrari driver. Ahead of them, it's Capoza on the attack on the outside of turn 9. So it's the same type of overtake that Maripeng himself tried on Ban Colby. Look how close the McLaren is to the back of the Williams. Come on, Mex, says Nintendo Wii, cheering on the McLaren driver, who had a stormer of a quali session, but really his race prospect was transformed into a recovery race after that lap 1 drama. Now, these two fighting, King Rapture and Capoza, has given Loveness all the license he needs to extend that gap. Ban Colby has slipped even further behind. He's now down to P11. He's out of the points as the Aston Martin driver, having a nightmare race as we're watching Capoza trying to pile the pressure on the King Rapture. Whoa, who has a moment of his own on the exit of turn 2, now down to P5, soon to be P6. So unforced errors really resulting in drivers losing so much. He's now down to P5. King Rapture was fighting for the race win. Look at that. He's lost his front right wing end plate, so he might need to come into the pits early unless he's just going to risk it for the biscuit and stay out and struggle on that damaged wing. So Capoza is now running in P2 from Zotal in 3rd. He is now under attack. Donathan Laka, the quickest driver on track on those brand new medium tires, running all the way down in P12, and Ban Colby has slipped all the way to P13. I do wonder if Ban Colby has taken damage. On board now with Zotal. What can he do? Zotal versus Capoza. It's the battle for P2. It's great news for Loveness. He's absolutely loving this. Is Tato, aka Loveness. 2.9 second advantage for the Haas driver. We're now watching Zotal within DRS, within half a second. As Key Music asks, where the heck is Tapiso? Is he still at the car wash? Well, sadly for Tapiso, he could not make it to this race. Tapiso has been relegated as a result. Tapiso will be a Tier 2 driver next season. Yellow flags in the final corner. I wonder who that was for. Quickly cleared others. Yellow flag. Zotal chasing Capoza. Teppo Temba running in clean air, relatively speaking. He has a moment coming out of turn 2. Has to adjust his line. Now 2.5 seconds behind the pack he's chasing. Don Radical, P5. Mex is behind him in P6. We'll stay with this battle in the midfield. Mex, Don Radical, and Josh, aka Damnesia. But as these three battle, Smirch Django is also clawing his way up the pack. So Don Radical and Django on a last to first challenge, really making good on their promise to be clawing their way up the grid. On board now, we go with Josh. We saw him make a huge mistake a little bit earlier, cost him a lot of momentum in those initial laps. He's now trying to have a moment on the back of Mex, but on the exit of turn 7, he had a twitch, had to correct that steering wheel, and he loses ground. He slips out of the DRS of Mex, who is now on the brink of possibly overtaking the Ferrari ahead of him. Mex, on a recovery drive of the Aegis, started in pole, now in P6, but it is a recovery because he was significantly lower after having that huge moment in turn 1 of this race. Now running P6, trying to catch up to the back of Don Rabico. Hasn't been too eager to use his battery. He's down at about the low 60% of that battery compared to Don Rabico. Similar battery use, but Don Rabico goes off on the exit of the first corner. That'll bring Max straight into the reckoning. Was not able to take advantage of that slight mistake by the Ferrari driver ahead of him. Behind them, of course, is Damnesia and Smirch Django running in P7 and P8. Damnesia, the Alfa Romeo driver, who today is in the colors of Mercedes, being hunted down by Smirch Django, trying to put on, quite a show here, having started towards the back of the pack. On board we go with Smirch Django, down to about half of his battery power remaining. Now into turn 7. He's going to look to get a cleaner exit as compared to Josh, who struggled out of turn 7 last lap around. This time, that gap is now half a second and shrinking. Will it be slim enough for Django to go for it as you get a beautiful sweeping helicopter shot? Django, they're running nose to tail here with Josh, aka Damnesia. And on the exit of turn 9, it is still advantage Josh as far as that P7 spot is concerned. But Smirch Django, being Django, he will absolutely go for it, possibly on the coming straight. Through the hotel section we come, they pass the marina, those beautiful yachts nestled, if you will, on that body of water. It's now Django on the exit of the final corner. Will he go for it? Might be tempting, but this straight not nearly long enough for Django to absolutely go for it on a full send. Still within half a second, as is Zotao to Kaboza ahead of them. Lap 7 of 29. Ooh, Josh not looking too comfortable through these initial corners. Django on the outside line into turn 5. Will he get the switchback on the exit of this corner? He touches the apex, but Josh gets a cleaner exit, and Josh hangs on to that advantage. He goes on the inside line. Zotal has overtaken Kaboza further ahead. It's Smirch Django thinking about it, but not quite close enough to get that move done. Meanwhile, Mandla is going for it versus S. Buddha. He's on the inside of the AlphaTauri, and he's ahead of the AlphaTauri going in towards turn number 6. Oh, S. Buddha late on the brakes, almost going into the back of Mandla. That would have really compromised both their prospects, but S. Buddha's mistake has brought the King Rapture straight within the reckoning here. Django has finally overtaken Damnesia further back. Here comes Maripang on the inside of the AlphaTauri, and Maripang King Rapture is ahead, or is he? S. Buddha fighting it through turn 9. Maripang not quite ahead, close but no cigar. S. Buddha with the fight back of the ages, showing his experience, is the veteran tier 1 driver. You shall not pass that simply, not that easily. Maripang King Rapture struggling, of course. He did not come to pit. That wing still broken if you look at that front right wing end plate of the Williams driver. So battles pretty much all throughout the pack here, as we've just seen Maripang's attempt. And as he did that, of course, he used up so much of his battery, now down to less than 10%. So Maripang with a mountain to climb, opting to go long, opting to play the long game, and perhaps we'll take advantage if a safety car comes out. Man Ray says, where the heck was this Boo all season? Well, it's Boo really showing some much needed fight in a season which has not gone according to plan for the AlphaTauri driver, whose teammate on the other side of the garage has been sensational. Inkawako, aka D-Wax, has had a blinding season in the other side of the garage for Team AlphaTauri. We're now watching Mex versus Don Radical versus Seppo Temba. On board now with Mex we go. As our number cruncher in race control today is none other than the superstar Wandal Shezi, who is coming to Tier 2 next season. Wandal Shezi has been crunching the numbers as things currently stand. Van Kobe, Damnesia, Malusi the Malusi are in the playoffs to survive and maintain their place. Seppo Temba has earned a time penalty, so that is not going to help his prospect. As it currently stands, Van Kobe has 22 points, Damnesia has 21, Malusi the Malusi has 16. Those drivers in the playoffs. Automatically relegated are Tepiso, Esbuda, and Enlebo, two of whom are not represented in this race. This has been Mex trying to reclaim, at the very least, P4 before hunting down his teammate. Was not quite close enough to get that move done. Thanks very much to Wandal Chezi, who's been giving us that update. And as things currently stand, Loveness would move all the way up to P8 if he were to win this race. What a day it's been. We do have to touch base with Loveness once again as Mex trying to stay as close as possible to Don Ravico so that he can go on the attack on this stretch of road. Seppo Temba got a better exit than the chasing back behind him. Will Mex be going for it? He used his battery a little bit, then he kind of relented, so perhaps he will go on the attack through turn 9. He's not quite close. Don Ravico still carrying momentum, still making sure that he's hanging on to that P5 spot is the Ferrari driver as we get a yellow flag on another section of the track. Quickly retracted is that, oh, there's this moment in Capoza. Seppo Temba, they might have made contact. Capoza is running wingless. I wonder what might have happened there. Capoza was fighting with Zotau. Look at that. They're 3 wide into the final sequences of corners. Capoza slipping even behind his teammates. He was probably going to come all the way back into the pits. Yes, he does. As now, Seppo Temba, courtesy of Capoza's mistake, he's now been promoted up to P3. Don Ravico, P4. Mex is up to P5, but he's going to look to fight it immediately. Not wasting any time, taking advantage of the drivers having to pit early. Capoza took damage. He's now fitting a brand new wing and a fresh set of medium compound tires to take from lap number 10 to lap 29. Capoza pitting much earlier than he would have wanted to, but he had no choice. Running now brand new mediums all the way towards the end. Back to the battle we go. Mex, Don Ravico, Seppo Temba. As Langelo says, hey, Don Ravico, Smooch Jango are so rude for making, being true to their word on making this a last to possible first challenge. It's not going to be easy for them because Zotal and Loveness are fighting it out at the front of the pack. Back on board with Next We Go, whose teammate has just had a nightmare scenario, finding himself now in that P11 spot. Next has been within half a second of the pair that he's been chasing for what feels like the longest possible time. But not able to get the overtake done. Don Ravico has been clawing his way up the pack, but he's found a rock in the form of Seppo Temba as your race leader comes into the pits in lap 10. Just before the beginning of lap 11, Zotau is now in the lead of the race as Seppo Temba, Ravico, and Mex now surpass the pit lane and push Loveness all the way down to P7. And you'll get a sense of who exactly has stopped. Of all the drivers that have done so, Loveness will just be hoping to come, at the very least, ahead of Capoza when he exits the pit lane, and it looks like he will be well and truly way ahead of the McLaren, which is only now making its way towards turn number 1. So, beautiful pit stop there by Team Haas. Loveness will be trying to catch up to the race leaders, and the gap between himself and the new leader, Zotau, 20.1 seconds, and slightly building as Loveness tries to warm up those tires. Zotau, new race leader in lap number 11 of 29. So, beautiful day by the Alpine driver. He will now look to steal the march on Loveness by having a scorching race and a race without mistakes between now and his own pit stop, because that gap is about 20 seconds. So he will look to make it even bigger by the time he comes into the pits. Seppo Temba, 6 seconds behind. Seppo Temba, trying to shake off Don Ravico behind him. We're going to get back on board with this battle. It's been relentless, and now arriving on the scene is going to be Smirch Django, who is a total of 8 seconds behind Zotau at this particular point. It's going to be a 4-way battle, and Mex, who was huffed and puffed versus Don Ravico, not able to overtake him, is now going to be looking over his shoulder. Oh, he has an almighty spin in the exit of turn 2, and Mex with a huge mistake, costing him P4, and Smirch Jangle will say thank you very much, as will Damnesia, who now goes up to P5, chasing that chasing that trio, which is trying to fight for second place. Whoa, Mex, unforced error, costing him now. Absolutely heartbreaking stuff. Damnesia, not quite within touching distance of that trio ahead of him. We're now watching Smirch Jangle versus Don Ravico versus Seppo Temba. Oh my days, Mex, I can't believe it. So says Nintendo Wii. Mex's biggest cheerleader, Don Rabico, is going for it on the inside of turn 9, but was not close enough. Don Rabico used up pretty much all of his battery there. He's down to about 10% or less. He went absolutely, haywire there. He went completely, completely 100%, if you will, on the attack. But Seppo Temba said no. So the Aston Martin driver putting on a stout defense. Try as he might, Don Rabico cannot overtake Seppo Temba, who has a time penalty to contend with. And it's great news, of course, for Zotal, because the gap between him and P2 now 7.1 seconds. Damnesia has finally come into the pit at this particular point, so Loveness will overtake him. Damnesia will fit a brand new set of hard compound tires from lap number 13 to the end of this race. Capoza, fastest man on track, 127.212 is the new benchmark as far as the fastest lap is concerned. And as these two have battled, Django has found his way into the DRS. Don Rabico was fainting on the inside. He goes on the outside, so he's bluffing Seppo Temba. Will he get a move on the exit? No, Seppo Temba, cleaner exit out of turn 7. So try as he might, Don Rabico has no answer towards Seppo Temba's speed, his guile, his experience. Sensational stuff from the Aston Martin driver, who was given nothing away, channeling Gandalf. You shall not pass, says Seppo Temba, as Smirch Django has now joined the party. Joining the fray is the Mercedes driver, the champion. The newly minted champion, it must be said. On board we go with Django, who's got front row seats to this battle for P2. And, of course, he will also just look to line it up. And if any one of the two drivers ahead of him make the tiniest of mistakes, he will pounce at the earliest opportunity. They've now begun lap 14, led by Zotal, Seppo Temba, Don Rabico, and Django, the chasing pair. Don Rabico, not the cleanest exit out of that initial corner. Django takes a heavy curve on turn 3, I think that was. And he's really given it his all, but not quite close enough to get that move done. Seppo Temba, 32% of his battery remaining. So he's got more battery than the pair of drivers behind him, who also have the advantage of DRS. So it's really great battery management here, even though he's down to about 30%. It's definitely advantage. So it's actually Django who's up to about 45% as Don Rabico comes so close to the back of that Aston Martin on the exit of turn number 7, but still not quite close enough to go for it. Now, towards turn 9, on the outside, it's Don Rabico towards P2, but Seppo Temba fights him back, giving nothing away, and he's still in P2 as the Aston Martin driver. You will not have it easy. Don Rabico being made to sweat, being made to absolutely work for it, as Seppo Temba says no. Esbuda has retired for the 11th time in the season, and it's sayonara Esbuda. It's goodbye to the Galuva from Aston Martin. Esbuda will be racing in the second tier of Breakaway League Racing next season. The veteran Tier 1 driver, a founding member of Breakaway, as Don Rabico goes wide on the exit of that first corner, which he has not enjoyed at all. Smirch Django just content to watch these drivers fight it out. Django perhaps waiting for a mistake before he pounces, as Zotal is ahead by almost 8 seconds. It is 8 seconds as they now come out of turn 5. Rushing towards turn 6 is this chasing trio. Mex is a further 3.7 seconds behind. Loveness, who is already pitted, remember, currently running in P6. Don Rabico tried, but could not get it done towards turn 9. Will he try again? Will he finally get it done? Seppo Temba is just predicting his moves and just countering. By just being superior in speed through this particular corner. So try as he might, Don Rabico not quite having enough in the bag to get this overtake done. Zotal has lost 0.3 of a second to this chasing pack, so perhaps unforced errors for him. He's racing in clean air as Zotal. He's on the verge of beginning lap number 16, all the way ahead. And he's just crossed the line, has Zotal to do exactly that. So Smirch Django has been content to watch this battle and not quite go for it. Mex now down to P5 within the clutches of the chasing Loveness, who was running in 6. Capoza on those P7, on those medium tires is in P7. Damnesia, new hard tires is 8. Donovan Laka, 9th on those aging mediums. He's already pitted. He had to pit early, remember, courtesy of that early incident that sent him tumbling down the order. Ban Kobe is back in the points. P10 for him. Mandla, Romeo, still there, still running. First time using ABS. He's up to P11. King Rapture, 12th. Don Radical finally getting the overtake done. And he's used up all of his tires to do so. Now up to P2. So Tepo Temba tried as he might, but could not get that move done. Will Django go on the attack? At this point, the answer is yes on the inside before turn 9. Django now up to P3. Don Radical, Smirch Django now into the podium places. Man, oh man, oh man. Tempo Tempo with that 3-second time penalty. Now everybody in the top 5 has yet to come into the pits. Zotal has an 8.2 second advantage. Don Radical now needs a miracle. And that's putting it lightly if he is to have a say in the battle for the race win. So Zotal needs to be inch perfect between now and the end of proceedings. Run, Zotal, run, says Key Music in the comment section. Well, he's got to do exactly that. He's got about 12 laps of racing to go, does Zotal, as Damnesia becomes the second driver to earn a 3-second time penalty for track limit incursions. Zotal in the lead of this race is being urged to come into the pits by the likes of Crash. This is the time, says Crash in the comments section. Lap number 17. Will Zotal heed those remarks? Donovan Laka back in the pits for the second time, as is Ban Kobe all the way at the back. Zotal must burn the incense. Shisha the Impepo to not spin or have a DNF, so says Manray in the comments section. It looks like Django is now fighting it out versus Don Radical. They had a lot of fun with these two doing donuts in Q1. Django is finding improvements. He's improving on his personal best time of a 28.822. At the end of Sector 2, he's finding more than a tenth of improvement on his best time up until this point. The quickest driver on track, remember, is Capoza, down at P7. Capoza had already pitted, but he's on aging medium compound tires. Zotal listens to the remarks that you had mentioned. He finally comes into the pits, as does the chasing pair of Radical and Django. Loveness has come out in P1, so the undercut by Loveness has worked. Now Zotal is on those brand spanking new mediums, as is Don Radical and the chasing trio behind Zotal. Capoza, courtesy of everyone being in the pits, has come out just behind Zotal. Man, oh man, oh man, would you look at that? He's about 5 seconds behind Zotal, who is already pitted, so Capoza is going to have to put on an absolute masterclass here if he can take these aging mediums towards a podium place finish. Loveness back in the lead of the race, and look at that gap. Despite Zotal leading after Loveness's pit, that gap extended. Loveness has been having a blinder, and his undercuts, well, his tire strategy resulting in a net gain of 10 seconds. Look at that gap. Take a bow, Loveness. He's on the verge of becoming the 6th different driver to win a race in the top tier of Breakaway League racing. Definitely a classic season that we have had. We've seen Cicle, the former champion, win. We've seen Django win more than one. Capoza has won a race. Ingawako D-Wax has won a race. Don Radical has won a race. Is this the day that Loveness makes it 6 different race winners in the top tier of Breakaway League racing? He's in with a fighting chance. 8-lap old hard compound tires behind him are a whole slew of drivers on softer and therefore quicker tires. So it's not going to be smooth sailing. There's a yellow flag. Was that for Damnesia, perhaps? There was a slow-moving Mercedes. Well, it looks like Django has managed to keep pace with Don Rabico. It's been a raging battle between those two for quite a while. So it's going to be a case of, recovery drive for the likes of Damnesia, currently running in P8. And as things currently stand, with Loveness leading, Zotal second, Kapoza third. The championship standings are as follows. With Van Kobe currently out of the points, he is still in those playoff spots. He's still in the playoff spots. It's Van Kobe, Damnesia, Malusi the Malusi in the playoff spots. King Rapture is now at risk of slipping into those playoff spots. King Rapture has 30 points. Damnesia has 23 points as things currently stand. And towards the top, it is Mex on 125 points. Mex is now down to is still P3. Zotal is now P4 in the Drivers' Championship. So as things currently stand, Zotal has overtaken Don Rabico in the Drivers' standings. And Loveness has overtaken the likes of Fensei and Tabo T92 in the standings. So Loveness is now P7, I believe, in the Drivers' standings as things currently stand. If we negate of course, the presence of C-Clay, who is taking no further part in this championship. Don and Smurts Django absolutely sending it. So says Crash in the comment section. Thank you, Wandal Shezi in race control, giving us those updated standings. So Van Kobe is still safe. He's still in the playoffs. But he would have wanted so much more with Van Kobe, currently running at the back of this pack and out of the points. When will Teppo Temba, when will Django attack Don Rabico? Teppo Temba has been trying to charge that battery. He's almost out of Django's DRS. He's just hovering. He's on the brink. 41% with the battery power remaining as we get that beautiful overhead helicopter shot. 43% Django, 64%. So he's been sparing his battery very, very efficiently. Teppo Temba retires from the race. Where did he lose his car, I wonder? The top on board with the cars that are following, Teppo Temba becomes the latest driver to crash out. It's a full safety car, as Teppo Temba has lost it in the hotel section. He was chasing Django and he pushed too hard to Teppo Temba. He lost it, I believe, on the exit of this corner, turn 14. And his car has, been swiftly moved. He's out. Teppo Temba is out. And what was going to be the smoothest of races for Loveness is now going to be a race under pressure. Behind Loveness are going to be a whole host of drivers on a fresh set of tires. Kapoza, Damnesia, Rapture into the pits. Will they go brave and select soft? Kapoza says no, new mediums for him, as does Loveness. What does Rapture do? He goes brave. He goes for the softs. Mandla, Romeo, what will he do? Van Kobe has opted to carry on those mediums. Mandla also selecting mediums at this point under safety car. So, Loveness is now going to have the rest of the pack, all those drivers bunching up, backing up behind him. He had all the breathing room in the world, but now is going to have the fight of his life to keep the likes of Zotal on those 3-lap old. They're fresh mediums for Zotal, for Don Rabico. Look at that. Loveness is not risking it. He's coming into the pits. He says, heck no. Of course, under safety car, they have to drive at about 40% worth of their usual battery power. Zotal sees no need to pit. He's going to keep track position. He stays out. Loveness, at this point, goes for new mediums. So he knew that he was going to be under attack. Don Rabico stays out. No need for him to pit. Django, will he go brave? No, he stays out. Mex also stays out. So Loveness is now going to hope not to lose too many positions. Oh, Django comes out just ahead of Loveness, but Loveness fights it. He's P3. Loveness has split Don Ravico and Django. So Loveness is going to have the freshest set of tires among the top runners. That is going to be a heck of a battle. Loveness on brand spanking new medium compound tires has split Don Rabico and smirched Django. Django tried to fight it as Loveness was exiting the pits, but he could not do it. Loveness splits the pair that was fighting it out, that was clawing their way to a possible memorable fight for a race win. But look at that. It's Zotal who's going to start in the lead at the race restart. Don Ravico is going to be fighting it out on the same tire age. Loveness is also going to be charging up that battery. Brand new mediums for him. And we know Loveness does not go down without a fight. He is going to be absolutely fighting for it. He's now P3. Django, P4. Mex is going to be fighting from P5. Caboza, brand new mediums for him. He may go on the attack versus his teammate, P6. Donovan Laka, P7. D'Amnesia is going to be fighting it out from P8. Ban Kobe from P9 position. Maripeng, King Rapture, P10. Mandla from P11. So Ban Kobe opted not to come into the pits. But at this point, really has... well, he could do whatever he wants here. Even if he would come into the pits, he could possibly even come out in between King Rapture and Mandla. We will see what exactly he will do. Now, with that situation, as things currently stand, courtesy of race control, that being Wandal Chezi, as Ban Kobe opts to stay out and keep track position. Ban Kobe is still in those playoff spots on 24 points. D'Amnesia is now on 21 points. Mello the Mello still on 16 points. And the three drivers that have been relegated, folks, that is pretty much that. It is Tapiso, Esbuda, and Enebo. They are all gone. They are in Tier 2.
Marusepis. Maybe because of something, yeah.
Yeah, I think he could have done. He could have maybe pulled a rabbit out of a hat, but now Tapiso will be racing in Tier 2. They've rolled out the red carpet, have the Tier 2 drivers. The Tier 2 Union, as they call themselves. Well, they will welcome Tapiso, they will welcome Esbuda and Enebo to the ranks of Tier 2. In the playoffs, currently, Mello, D'Amnesia, and Ban Kobe. At risk are, of course, King Rapture and Mandla. But Mandla, on those 36 points, looks like he's well and truly safe and not at risk, even though he's running at the back of this here pack. Towards the front, it is, of course, still Django on 306 championship points as things currently stand. Caboza is running P6. He has 165 points as things stand. Mex, 131 points. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. So says race control. Don Rabico has been overtaken in the Drivers' Championship by Zotal, who moves up ahead of Don Rabico to P4. What a day for Zotal. What a potential masterclass. If Don Rabico does not win, if neither Don Rabico nor Django win, at least from the top 5, then we will have a brand new race winner in the season finale. So, Zotal, we've seen some unforced errors, we've seen some mistakes, we've seen some spins. He now needs to have the lap of his life, the restart, the race of his life. He will conclude proceedings. It's Zotal who uses a little bit of his battery, not too much in the rush towards turn 1. He's got a little bit of a gap. It's half a second. Don Rabico, he hates turn 1. He goes off track again. Loveness is chasing not too far behind. Oh, Loveness is on the attack versus Don Rabico. Immediately, it's Loveness who's thinking about going on the inside. It's Loveness. They're going wheel to wheel. Loveness is weaving. He's on the inside of Loveness. It's Loveness up to P2 as things currently stand. Don Rabico in 6s and 7s sliding. He may yet lose 2 positions in the space of a corner. It's Smirch Jangle going for it. Somebody has spun off. Somebody has spun off in the background. It might yet be Ban Kobe at the back of the pack. Smirch Jangle is going to go for it versus Don Ravico, as Loveness is hunting down Zotal. Maripang overtakes the King Rapture. Meanwhile, I beg your pardon, Maripang overtakes Donathan Laka, as Loveness is absolutely sanding it versus Zotal, who weaves to the left and to the right, trying to keep the Hatch driver at bay. Loveness on the inside of turn 9. They're almost going to make contact, or will they? Zotal gets a better run through turn 9. It's the outside line for the Alpine driver. Meanwhile, Don Ravico is on their tail still from Smirch Jangle. Oh, Loveness makes contact. He hits Zotal, who spins out and loses the lead of the race. Loveness, skullduggery. Loveness was late on the brakes. He completely took Zotal out in the rush towards those slower corners. It was turn 12. Loveness hit Zotal, sent him spinning, and now he's claimed the race lead. Will that cost him towards the end of proceedings here? Meanwhile, Jangle managed to overtake Don Ravico. What is Loveness doing? Come on! Everybody lamenting that. Loveness claiming the race lead, the possible race win in, dodgy circumstances. Zotal will be absolutely heartbroken. Meanwhile, Capoza is going for it versus Don Ravico. He's on the outside in turn 5. Don Ravico manages to hang on by the skin of his teeth. No, he doesn't. Zotal has got him. It's Zotal. I beg your pardon, Capoza has got him. And now up to the podium places, and behind them, it's a huge sequence of the battle. Ravico fights back towards turn 6. Pushes Capoza towards the outside line as he lines up his entry into the chicane, and now Don Ravico back up towards P3. Smirch Jangle is fighting for it. The final couple of laps now, we go on board with King Rapture. He went aggressive on those soft compound tires. He's hunting down Capoza. Zotal will be livid, heartbroken, crestfallen, having lost a potential memorable race win. Oh, Maripang on the inside of Don Ravico. Look at that! I mean, oh man. I mean, it was a Capoza on the inside of Don Ravico. We were watching Maripang. Capoza with the cleanest of overtakes. Absolutely beautiful stuff. Capoza now maintaining that P3 spot, fighting back as DRS will be enabled for the final 3 laps. Sadly for Zotal, through no fault of his own, he's now down to P6 as Donathan Laka may have taken damage. He has come into the pits. Or rather, that is Mex has come into the pits, as has Ban Kobe, to conclude this race. So drama towards the end of proceedings here. Damnesia has got that time penalty to contend with. He is currently running, hunting down Zotal, who is now in that P6 spot. So drama towards the end of this here race. Drivers will be livid. That is an overtake. That is Zotal passing Damnesia easily. Now up to P5 as he is now trying to recover towards the end of his race. Mex Ban Kobe fitting a set of soft compound tires, as did Mandla behind them. But Mandla so far behind will definitely, as it currently stands, finish outside of those points positions because of where Ban Kobe will be coming out. Back on board, it's the battle for the race lead. Smirch Jangle finding improvements. He's gone purple through the second sector of this track. We may yet be watching a driver going for it and possibly getting the fastest lap on top of a possible memorable finale race win at the end. Come on, he's being cheered on as Smirch Jangle in the comment section, now hunting down the race leader, that being Loveness. Jangle, quickest man on track, 26.890 is the new benchmark as far as those times are concerned. The top 2, look at that gap, 4.4 seconds they have managed to build between themselves and the chasing Capoza. Don Ravico has had a nightmare restart. He's now down in the pits. He's retired in the pits. Was speeding in the pit lane. He had earned a time penalty for track limit incursion, so not such a great end to the season for Don Ravico, I beg your pardon. So not so great for him. Meanwhile, it is Smirch Jangle, the king, the new king, Jangle Unchained, says David in the comments section. Let's go, do it for Lewis. On the same track where Lewis had his heart broken, so says Celindo in the comments section. It's Jangle going for it. He's got 2 laps to do it. Loveness is giving absolutely nothing away. 10% of battery power for the chasing Jangle. Loveness, meanwhile, 22%. So it's advantage to the Hatch driver as far as that ERS is concerned. He's got a little bit more to fight with, does the race leader. And now he's going to need to be inch perfect, not make a single error, which would then tempt Django to come close to the reckoning. Liddy says, I told you guys, Capoza is an absolute beast. Well, he has been beastly, has the McLaren driver, now 5 seconds behind the leading pair. Back on board now we go with Smirch Django as Zotal has claimed another sculpt. Zotal overtaking Donovan Laka. Zotal now up to P4 on his recovery drive, 2.8 seconds behind Capoza. Smirch Django has slipped out of Loveness's DRS as we now go towards the latter stages, the concluding chapter of this Tier 1 saga. As the 86er Scripto Titan says, Zoltan's back up to P4. Absolutely, he is. Django hunting down the race leader. They're both flashing, seemingly. So Loveness had to use whatever was left of that battery to keep Loveness at bay. Loveness was pretty much using that battery to make sure that he breaks out of Django's DRS and does not give him an absolute inch. But sadly for Django, he was also using all that battery just to try and stay in touch. So a last to first challenge may not yet come to be, folks. It looks like we may yet be on the brink of getting a brand new race winner crowned, as the new fastest lap now belongs to Ban Kobe, currently running in P9. 1 minute 26.820 is the new benchmark. But Ban Kobe all the way 45 seconds behind the leaders of this race. So we'll get a sense of that battle. King Rapture, Maripeng, also on the softs, which are aging compared to the likes of Ban Kobe and them. He's a P7. Max running in P8, 2-lap old softs from Ban Kobe, and Madla at the back of this pack. Back on board we go. In the midfield, it's Rapture Maripeng has overtaken King Amnesia, who seems to have had a huge moment. There's a slow-moving Ferrari. Donovan Laka has spun. Maripeng goes up to P5. Josh knows he gets a penalty, says Celindo, as Mex is the new fastest driver. Overtaking or claiming that time which was set by Ban Kobe earlier on. The leaders of the race have begun the final lap of this tour around the Yas Marina Circuit, and at some point Django was almost in touching distance of Loveness, but he could not get within that DRS once again in that rush towards turn 9. What a race it's been! 29 laps of drama, 16 laps of absolutely sensational races in the top tier of Breakaway League racing. And as they now come through the hotel section, it seems that at the season finale, it's going to be a brand new presence in the top step of the podium. It's Loveness across the line with a brilliant P1, but it may yet be challenged. Smirch Django, as the champion, comes across the line P2. Capoza, having had to fight his way from the doldrums, is now up to the podium places. Zotal would have hoped for more, but comes across the line P4. Maripeng, King Rapture, P5, I beg your pardon. Donovan Lacko will come home in P6. Damnesia, P7. And now it's Mex, Ban Kobe, and Mandla who will cross the line to conclude the race and conclude the points. It's Mex across the line for P8. Here comes Ban Kobe. We will get a tally of the final standings to see what it's like considering Don Rabico's retirement. Ban Kobe, P9. He will claim a couple of points in the final race of the season. Mandla will come home in P10. Who's your driver of the day? Who's your driver of the season? Let us know in the comments section, folks. The fastest lap as Mandla. well. I believe Mex took the fastest lap there at the end. So that is that, folks. Danchi Capoza, Zotal driver of the day, Benson driver of the day. So says the 86er. Who's been your driver of the season? Well, folks, as things currently stand, Smirch Django is the champion. Capoza second in the championship from Mix, who is the third placed driver in the season standings. Zotal will come home with the P4 in the Drivers' Championship from Don Rabico in 5th. And then we have Ngawako, and then Loveness, and then Fensei, then Donovan Laka, and then Tabo T92. The drivers who are in the playoffs, it seems it's going to be Ben Kobe, Damnesia, and Malusi the Malusi as things currently stand. Well, what a sensationally dramatic race. It's Kaboza in the podium. Congratulations. How on earth did you pull that off? At some stage, it looked like podium was, a step too far, a dream too far.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh yay, day and Kase. Oh yay, day and Kase. Yo, hey, I was not dogging, but I managed to pull it off. I had unfortunately been able to in the first stint on hard and that yeah, she thought it gone at that point. But then the safety car saved me. I was just before the pace of the safety car call, so I just went in for the last mediums. Yeah, it was an eventful race. Yeah, supposed to close out the season into so with the podium.
Wow.
It's been a great season. Shout out to my teammates and my parents close to that. But yeah, good season.
Fantastic season as far as your championship is concerned. In the top 3, also Team McLaren, of course, claiming that P2 in the constructors' standings. Sensational season. Your network in the party chat was kind of glitchy there, but I think we got the gist of what you were saying. Beautiful, beautiful season you have had. Django, the champion, wearing the crown. It's the first time we're talking to you as champion. How does it feel, number 1, to have snatched the crown from the 3-time champion, Sikle? And how does that feel? It wasn't quite a last to first, but a podium finish all the way from the back is sensational stuff.
Good evening, Ty. I just want to say something.
The champ is here, if you can hear that faintly in the background. Yes. How does that feel? Congratulations. What a season. What a race.
Yeah, no, it has been an amazing season. Firstly, shout out to, there's a few people that, I need to thank. It might be a long speech, but, we've been practicing for this for a long time. Ever since we joined the breakaway, it's been a long time coming. So I'm glad it happened. Shout out to the King Rapture, shout out to Justice, shout out to Lipo, shout out to Zule. We practice together most of the time. But to give a big shout out to Don Rabico. When I first started using Memo, he was there. Off season, we practiced crazy hours. And it was just amazing, to see that I could actually match his pace as well. And there was a bit of confusion, people thinking he's helping me and whatnot. But in all honesty, we just practiced together and we fight it out on track. He said that he didn't want to interfere with the championship, but it was often too late. So thank you, Jesse.
Man, beautiful stuff. And the person who comes the top step of the podium, becoming the 6th different winner of this, the classic Tier 1 season, Tato, a.k.a. Loveness. Congratulations. Take us through that contact with Zotal. It looked like you were late on the brakes there. Hitting him, he went spinning. Take us through that incident, but what a race and what a quality from you. All right, congratulations there. So slight issues with the network. You were kind of glitching, but I'm going to try and paraphrase. He was reflecting, of course, on that performance. You were also saying, of course, it was, I think, a bummer how it turned out with the contact with the Zotal. He was under a lot of pressure from Django towards the end there, so he had to fight for his life. But glad, of course, to come across the line. He said it also was a long time coming that he takes the top step of the podium. Of course, he has, I think, had a podium finish before today. So what a season from Loveness. I can't wait to see what the upcoming season has for you. What a way to really show your class towards the end of this season. Congratulations, Tato, a.k.a. Loveness. We will be seeing you in the coming season. Now, Loveness, I'll come to you, Kaboza. You've seen, obviously, the drivers that came up, they raised the level of this tier. I'm talking the likes of Mex, King Rapture, and everyone who's come up has looked comfortable. And again, more drivers are coming up and no one is slow. How are you feeling in terms of your own prospects of fighting it out next year and the quality of drivers that are coming to tier 1 next season, Kaboza?
I think my toughest season was the first season. So I think I have pace to scoring point for the past next season. I'm hoping that I'll be able to maintain that and be able to score points. But there is a bit of fear of it. People are putting the time because compared like to practice in this game very key. And putting in the hours, doing your own setup, taking people's setups and then adjusting them to your own driving style instead of adjusting each style to the setup. So it's a matter of if I can put in the hours during the off season and going ABS off for the following season. So and just need to join, to break the champion, to join the squad in practicing. But yeah, congrats to Django, phenomenal first season debut, win against Tife. It was great. Great to see the controller gang.
Controller gang.
So we're still gonna try and push, try and stay in tier 1. People took this as a joke, but I live with the Ranieri idea of tier 1, the safety points, that's what I'm for every season. So next season, when you 60 points, then you still will go.
Kaboza taking it step by step there. What a season you've had as you keep on progressing. I am sure says Django is making people quit. He's a bad brother. Absolutely. Loveness, I'll just come to you finally. You've won, you've shown your quality here. You were sensational qualifying and, of course, winning this, coming across the line, P1, winning this race. What are your targets for next season? Challenging for the top 5. Loveness is coming for you. I can't wait to see how that goes. Django, lastly, will it be a repeat? Would you put your head on the block and declare right now that you will successfully defend that championship? Confidence levels?
Of course. I mean, I'll be fighting out with next season. And it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to play out. But the hunter becomes the hunted.
The hunter becomes the hunted. Sensational stuff. Gentlemen, congratulations. Loveness, Django, Kaboza. We will see you next season. I'll just catch up with the last of the comments. Langello, thanks for the words of encouragement there. Brown Boy is coming back with the new game. So says Debo Croc, a.k.a. Bongani, who is also going to be racing in the top tier pretty soon. Can't wait to see how he fares. As Ali was responding a little bit earlier. And Quali says, Django the champ. And Langello was also responding there to a couple of audio issues that we had earlier on. So thank you, everybody, for the comments and for your participation. For the last time, the drivers who have made it to the playoffs are Bank Hobie, Damnesia. It says here Mellow the Mellow as well. It looks like Mandla and King Ratcher were at risk, but they did not drop into the playoffs. Sapiso, S. Buddha, and Nebo relegated to Tier 2. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Wandel Chesi, for the race control updates. We will see you next season. We will see you actually in the playoffs. Do stay tuned to Breakaway Racing League. I believe next week we will have the playoffs, the battle to either make it to Tier 1 or make it to Tier 2 or indeed to survive in those respective tiers. Thank you for the words of encouragement, Crash and Debo Croc as well. We will see you in the playoffs. Get Benson into commentary. I wonder if he is around. I'll see if we could possibly hear from Zotal. He, of course, would be heartbroken. His season towards the end really, went from strength to strength. Did Zotal. So I'm just checking here if it's possible to hear from him. So just give me a moment. No, it looks like he's offline, so I cannot add him as things currently stand. So thank you, everybody. We will see you in the playoffs, as Crash says he's rightly logged off. Thank you, everybody, and good night.